Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. 16th of July, and we are around about just over a minute and a half till the market opens. So I've been looking at this, trying to figure out what's going on today. So looking at yesterday, the afternoon yesterday, we seem to be finding some support here again and again. We had two legs up. We created something there. Hey, Speedy, how you doing, bud? Same again there, and another couple of attempts there. So we could have a leg and a leg. So this may fail. I've just been looking on Thomas Wade's Discord, and there's a couple of traders talking about looking for a second entry long or a higher low there. I'm probably going to hold off. It depends, because as we know, these legs, we got a leg and a leg. We got a leg and a leg. These legs can really come into play. So we've pushed above this. So whether this will fail or whether it'll push up, I don't know. But we've got one leg up, and this looks like another possible measured move. So we may hit this, and then it's hard to say really, but it's a bit too early. So that's just my early thoughts on what I can see. But we're clearly finding some support there. So I'm just not in a hurry yet just to go long, because we could just be putting out some range tops here. So it's a bit hard. It's a bit too early. Let's see how we get on. We have had some news earlier, which was around about there, which well, you may call it a little bit of a spike there, but nothing untoward. I think it's usually the PPI and the CPI that tend to do the damage, but nothing major, and that's all we got today, so that's good news. Okay, market is officially open. So let's see if this measured leg gets taken up. In fact, that can go up a tiny fraction more. So let's see how we get on today. So not a bad day yesterday. There was quite a few trades around yesterday, in all fairness. But I have to take these trades and then just leave it, because I'm coming out of them quite often. I think I've probably lost about $6,000 or $7,000 over the last 2.5 weeks, because I've come out of trades early which went on to make full amounts of profit. So there's no point in having my risk the same and taking less profits. There was also a nice lower high yesterday that I took, which was trapping some longs, which I wanted to take, but it was a little bit bigger. Then I know Marco took it, and a bunch of other traders took it. So if I find something good enough, I'm just going to have to commit. I've still got that slight little bit of fear there when getting into a setup, but my skill level is enough now to get me into a lot more winning trades than losses. So I need to just sort of have the confidence just to see it, get into it and just commit, and then leave it at that. That's the only way I'm really going to progress forward at sort of any sort of, decent rate. But I suppose it's all part of the journey. It happens to us all. Whenever we go up to the next level, we discussed it yesterday a little bit, didn't we? So now Thomas Wade has got that there, and he's got that as a break, which, yeah, I kind of agree with actually. Does look a little bit better. So it fits quite nice at the top. Let's just get that out of the way. So yeah, not too bad. So it looks like we've had a break, 2 pushes up to a new high, and hopefully if we can hit this measured leg, then I'm on the school that we could reverse then. As we know, market moves in twos, 2 pushes up. That's played out now. Right, there we go, right to the nearest tick. Love it when it does that. It just goes to show sometimes how accurate these markets really can be. Good morning to you. How do you guys know what Thomas is doing? I am on his Discord. There it is. So he puts, well, he's only just started, but he put one out there. But he puts a picture out every sort of 5 minutes, and when he takes a trade, he puts it out. So you can join it if you want to. But I think it's about $105 every 3 months. But the thing is, with you guys can look at my chart, so you can get my opinion, and you've got your own opinion. So, 2 heads are better than one. I can chat to you guys, but I don't know what you're looking at, see. So it just helps me, so I can compare what I've done I'm pretty much about 95% in line with Thomas Wade anyway. So trading is about confidence and self-belief as well, and I probably lack a little bit of that. So look at that. Look how amazing that is. Look right from the bottom there. So you can see what the market's doing. So we had this sort of couple of legs down. So we've had a leg and a leg, and we've had a leg and a leg. Now we can see there's a lot of support here. We're bouncing, and look what happened. So I drew those two legs, and that pushed right up there to the nearest tick and reverse. Look, so yeah, if you think these markets are random, I mean, that tells you. And I've got that exactly right to the very top, and it went right to the tick. Amazing, isn't it? So let's see what happens here. If this thing continues up, then I might extend that, but we'll see. So in fact, let me just bring it out now, see if it I'm not a massive fan of this bit here. I know we do get spiking channels, but for me, I'm just going to leave that where it is just at the time being. We just may have another retest of this, that's all. But it still amazes me how accurate these things are. Like, I mean, look at that. You can see two legs up and there's profit taken right there. Amazing. Someone said fail second entry short. After we've already hit that new high and pull back, I wouldn't be thinking to go long there, just in case. It's not really a setup anyway, it's just a first entry. I mean, it's off a key entry point. There may be something larger there. It could push up, but you're not going to know that, especially after we've made two measured legs and we come straight back quick to the EMA. We could have a leg down, a little bit of a pullback, could trap some longs and then come down further. We could have kind of a leg and a leg, may come down and retest these highs. So these sort of tops, if you think they're tops, they're not too bad actually. Bring it down a touch. But the bit that makes that area interesting to me is there, and there. So it's clearly rejecting. I mean, big rejection off there, big rejection, well, reasonable rejection off there. We came back in another couple of goes there, and a big rejection, and same there. Went up there, had another go, and then a big drop down. It's that 10, 15, 18 points, something like that. So if this continues up now, I'll draw a wider channel. In fact, I probably will now, actually. So I would say probably I will go from there. So let's put that there. So I'm going from this sort of spike here, somewhere around here. That's played out now, so I can ditch that. So here. Am I thinking about going long? Not just yet. I need to just give this time to sort itself out. It's not very clear. That hasn't triggered anyway, so see, I mean, realistically, you could even put that from there. Touch. First, second, third. This is confirming it. I'm just not sure. I've got trapped in trades like this before, so I'm not going long there because that could come down. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if it does. It may work if it's bullish enough, but this area, I'm just a bit unsure of what's happening with this area now. So let's watch this. Yeah, Thomas has just put his picture on there, so he's got it exactly the same. So I kind of like that, and he's just literally put that on a minute ago. So I kind of like that we're thinking alike. It just tells me I'm playing the right game. Let's see. It's a little bit stacked there anyway, so even if we had a bullish bar, I wouldn't want to take that because we could have a leg down sideways and another leg down. May continue up, but this is a little bit congested to me, so no setup there. This is a bit trappy for me. So we have had legs played out there, so that has played out. It's only really a first entry there. There's nothing you can do there anyway, really. Just in case we get a leg down with a break and a new low. Akitri, how you doing, buddy? You're saying 5,700, are you? I'm assuming that comment's been down there a minute. We're above that now, man. Yeah, it's a bit early to know exactly what's going on. We had that leg and we had that other leg there, so I wasn't really interested in taking anything here. I'd like a correction. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, people kind of like even numbers, don't they? You're going to take profits. Sometimes they round them up or round them down. So yeah, I mean it's one of those things really. We push up and we come back. So it's only really a first entry there, isn't it? I mean, if you're coming from here, there's your first entry. There's your failure. You're up and you're back to a new low now. So really, it's just a first entry. We'll all channel up, then we come down there. Because it could trigger that and come down here and have a break, could touch this line, it could do a bunch of stuff here, and it's clearly a little bit stacked there, isn't it? So you just can't trade that really. Well, not trading pats, it's just a danger zone really. You could get stung there, it may work, may not, but for me, it's kind of a toss of a coin there, especially this early on in the day. We haven't developed any sort of direction, although it is slowly doing. But after this leg and a leg, I'd be just giving it a little bit of time to sort itself out. But yeah, it's a little bit congested there, and after that, it's only a first entry, so sometimes they'll work. But if I took that, those are the trades that when I used to go on tilt, those are the types of trades that I took that used to make it. I was that eager to get in, and I just wanted to get in a trade. And if it triggered me and stopped me out, because I knew in my own mind that I should be leaving it alone, that's when I tended to sort of go off on one and below accounts. But I say that for me personally, I take a trade that I believe to be a setup, and if it doesn't work, I put that down to lack of experience, being caught out, not focusing. But just it's a learning curve, isn't it? You know, I've only been trading just over 3.5 years, so I'm kind of still early in my journey. But yeah, you do make mistakes, but I find though you get much better identifying the traps and staying out of them. You get much better at having a little extra second or two to breathe before you automatically jump into a trade. So things just do slowly just keep getting better and better. You know, occasionally you'll have a bad day. You may make a couple of stupid decisions, but they will end up being few and far between. So we're going to get two legs down here. It just seems to be slowly going up. Whenever it goes up slowly, that concerns me. So, let's see if we get two legs here. This is one of those trades, if it does set up, that is a good setup, but something doesn't feel right. So, the news was around about here, so that little area there may have been caught by the news, so the fact that that spiked out could just be news. So if you take away that news, it still actually fits quite nice. So this is starting to possibly develop. I got to get it set up here.
Order
really.
submitted.
Let me see. I hope this kind of doesn't set up, but it's a small risk if it does set up. No, it hasn't. It's just something about
Order
that I didn't like the
cancelled.
look of. For me, you see how we're going up and we're slowly getting further and further away from this. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. Yeah, you can clearly see we're moving away from there, which to me is losing momentum. Whenever we lose momentum, we often have a break. And there she blows. So I'm kind of glad a setup didn't appear there, because that may have been a trap. So it's still fitting okay, so that's losing momentum to me, so we're looking for a new high here. So if we can get above that EMA, we may get something. So that's a good sign. So quite a strong push up. Still got to wait for a setup. You got 6 ticks. Good on you, mate. Yeah, it's one of those ones that sometimes it's worth having a go at. So leg down. Let's see if we trap some shorts here, because there's probably going to be some shorts here. So if we can trigger below that, which we haven't. There is a higher low on this chart, but not too sure about this. 10 ticks that wise, which is a little bit rich for me. It hasn't triggered anyway. This is coming back a bit, so we could get a leg and a leg. So let's see what happens here.
Order submitted.
Okay. So we get on here. There is a higher low there. There's going to be some liquidity there, so I expect that to get hit, and there as well. So leg up and a leg up, it makes sense. What's the risk? 325. Oof. That's a bigger risk than I want. Gosh, come on. One more tick, come on. Push
Order
through.
filled.
Finally. Okay, nice start. I think the picture was wasn't brilliant here, but up here we had 2 legs down and a higher low. So that picture was okay. That one I wouldn't have taken, but it's a nice fitting channel with the break, and straight away we pushed strong up there, a little pullback. So I think that was worth taking. So cheers, Chris. Thanks for Keytree. Nice to have a... It's actually... Anybody notice the market seems to be improving a little bit? Although I took a trade and got out early, I would say there was three good trades yesterday, I noticed. And that just hasn't been happening much lately, is it? Nice NQ is going down, is it really? So we've had a push up. So let's see what happens anyway. But yeah, so 2 legs down and a higher low there. So I think that was worth taking. But yeah, I mean, we seem to be having better setups lately. Market is better now than it may. Yeah, it does seem to be getting a bit better, doesn't it? Kind of glad I only got that for 2 ticks. 2 points, sorry. So this may be a leg down and a leg down. We may have another go, but that to me is an attempt. Thomas have a go at that. Excuse me, he didn't, did he? So it hasn't. Oh, it's broken that area, but not that area. So let's have a look. Where's the words? What am I looking for? Oh, there we go. So let's call that high low. So high low plus 2 points. So what was available there? Let me have a look. So if you got in, say there, tick above there, so it went up for, wow, only just got out. Let's have a look. It doesn't work on here for some reason. I can't see where I got in. Will it show me on this? Yeah. So where did I get in? It's not the same chart here, see, is it? So I got in there and got out there, right on the top. Oh, the flipping heck. Oh, look at that, right to the tick. Oh, there was definitely an element of luck there for certain. I like the setup, but that got me out exactly for 2 points. Look at that, exactly. Otherwise, I'd have been out. So, I mean, it was a scalp, but no more. So definitely a little bit of luck there. So this now is 2 legs back. So this is probably going to go higher, isn't it? It's like a W pattern, but I can count that as my luck for today, 2 points. I mean, it was a couple of ticks off a new high. It wasn't the strongest of bars, I'll give you that. But we did have a pullback and then a strong push above. So there was definitely a little bit of extra luck there, I think. This is going sideways now. Right, this is ranging, isn't it, I think, at the moment. So, yeah. So let's have a look. So we got 1 attempt to go lower, 2nd attempt to go lower. You'd think now we'd push up from that. That's almost like a penguin style trade, isn't it? But what I will say is if you look on all 3 of these charts, we're here. We've tried to go up again, which is slightly lower, and we've tried to go up a 3rd time, which is lower still. So who's it said? Drawn cinema. Nice NQ is going down, different from the ES. Yeah, they do tend to work side by side, but occasionally, sometimes they look almost identical. If one moves, the other one tends to do the same. But what I will say is if you look at this, you can clearly see there's 2 pushes up, leg up, and a leg up. So I wouldn't be surprised if it came down. I think it's trying to make new highs, but after this, but this time we're a tick or 2 off, and this time it might work. So this to me looks like a penguin style trade. So we've got a channel up there, 1 attempt to go lower, 2nd attempt to go lower. So he will take that about there on a limit order. That's where his profit will go. So now he'll want to come back on that a little bit. So maybe there. So let's see if that works for a penguin style trade. I think it might, as we've had 2 attempts to go lower, because then you could say 1, 2, 3. There's going to be some buyers here now trying to push that up. So I'd expect this high now to get broken. So I would expect that line to get broken now. So penguin will get his points. I expect it to get maybe even a point further up. It may go more, but that for me is where it'll hit. There's liquidity there for sure. So when it pushes above that, that'll push it above that line. No reason to sell there yet, which I expect it to push above there. Once it ticks above there, it'll push through any little, maybe a few stops there. We'll see. He wouldn't be out yet. You'd have to go through again another tick. Yeah, so yeah, market does seem improved, doesn't it? There was probably a few good setups yesterday, what I would consider good setups. There was two in the area I got in. The first one I got out, lost a bit of confidence, got out, and then I jumped back in and I got out for a point, but it clearly did make 2 points. So I think the trick for me is just to leave it for the 2 points. But now I've got 20 accounts and I'm trading 10 at a time. There's a little bit extra. You know, the numbers, you can see the numbers are a little bit extra, so you're kind of aware of that. Now, if I'm trading 1p account and I'm thinking there's a total of $200 profit, there's no stress, no anxiety there at all. But if I'm trading that 10 of them, I know even a point is giving me $1,000. So I've got to try and forget that I'm trading 10 accounts. That I think the whole idea is to reduce the stress, spread the risk, and make better money. But if you're looking at all those accounts as a whole and you're seeing the whole amount of money, then I think sometimes it can be a little bit detrimental and get you out of trades a little bit earlier, which I think that's been happening to me. But that's fine. It's all part of the journey. I understand that. I understand, you know, I'm having the confidence to leave it. I did there. Luckily, that one worked because, you know, if you do take a point, you are going to win more trades than taking 2 points. But when you're doubling your profit, you know, you've only got to do it 2 or 3 times to make it worthwhile. And, you know, what I will say is trades go for more than 2 points about 98% of the time. But yeah, it does seem to be improving lately. And in fact, sometimes you look at, there was that setup, that lower high I looked yesterday. There was 2 legs up and a lower high. We were trapping some longs. I looked at that trade and I think the thought I had through my head was that trade looks a little bit too good to be true. So it's trust issues. And it was actually a good setup and it worked perfectly and nearly everyone took it. So I've got to try and get that a little bit of trust back. So he's still in this trade. So I still expect that to get, there's going to be liquidity there and there because there's a triple test there. So the fact that there's a triple test may come down, but when it struggles to get higher after a break and go sideways, I think then in most cases it will break the highs. It's going sideways, and for me, if you're not willing to go in there, you may wait for a couple of attempts to push higher. But because we've had that triple test, you know, it may not work because often when we have a break and we make 2 attempts to push higher, it may go in the opposite direction. So I got mixed feelings about this. Excuse me, just 1 second. Sorry about that, folks. It's all right. I just bought a car yesterday, and the guy that sold it to me has just been sacked. I'm kind of glad, actually, because he said, what was the guy offered you? And I said, well, there's some dents on there. So they're doing the dents and the bit of paintwork now as well. So I've got a slightly better deal, actually. Okay, what do I think about that? I wouldn't take that one purely for the size of it. The bit that concerns me is we've had a break and we've made 2 attempts to push higher. And sometimes that can result in a reversal because we've tried twice. But it is going sideways. So I'm a bit unsure. So we've had a break, made 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. That can fail. So I wouldn't have taken that one. One, because I'm unsure what's going on, but I think there's a channel down there like that. And that, to me, if that pushes up a higher low, you may be okay. But that, to me, is probably likely going to get stopped out because of the break, 2 attempts to push up. But I'm a bit on the fence here. Second entry short here. That was very tempting.
Order submitted.
It's gone too far. That's almost definitely going to stop that out, and that one. It's triggered above that one, so there'll be stops there and there. So, it's very tempting. Yeah, it's too late. That is now.
Order cancelled.
The trouble is, a lot of times we'll break out and fail, as we know. So, one, I'd have taken that on the engulfing for certain. So I'd have had it 1 tip. Okay, yeah. So once it's got down so far, there'll be stops there. So I'd have taken that on the engulfing for a couple of points, which you wouldn't have quite got yet. But yeah, that to me is just risky. I think this will probably work. So channel with a break and a new low. It may try to attempt to push up, but yeah, so you'd have got 2 points. You'd have to take that on the engulfing, really. It's just, by the time that closes, it's just too risky so far down. So, actually, if I adjust that, that looks a bit better, I think. I think it's safe to say I can get away with that now. So not only that, if that is a channel, look how far down that is to the bottom. I wouldn't have taken that. You've got to take that on the engulfing, really, and hope you get out before the bottom, but this thing is just dropping now. So interesting. Yeah, it's losing momentum, that. You can see it's coming away from this line. Look at the difference, but it's not as dramatic as it can be, but look at the difference there between there. So whenever we get that, we always almost get a break, which we have, and we've made 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. Would Penguin have got his trade there? It's hard to say. He may have done. But he'll want to be out before these highs, so he may take a tick off it. But 2 attempts to go low and push up, so it clearly worked. Out before the highs. But now we've had a break and 2 attempts to go higher. This thing's reversing. So if you, I think a lot of you guys watch Penguin. Watch him. He trades slightly different from us, but the theory is still the same. Market likes to work in twos. We've had a break and we've made 2 attempts, and we clearly struggle to get above this. And then whenever you get that push through the EMA, that's sometimes a good indicator. At least we're coming down to the bottom. So that, I mentioned a triple test, but unfortunately I was on the phone. So 1, 2, 3. It's a triple test, that is. So I think that's a pretty good trade to take. I don't know if anybody took it, but it's clearly a 2nd entry, and clearly 2 legs up, and it's clearly a triple test. I would have preferred it if it triggered above that bar there, which it didn't on any of the on any of them. Nice 150-point drop. Is it really? Yeah, this thing's following it, I think, now. But yeah, so I think that was okay to take there. 2nd entry short, triple test. as Penguin or so, we got a break, made 2 attempts to push higher. Once that came through the EMA, this for me was at least coming down at the bottom with the possibility of pushing lower. So that trade, trapping that. Trouble is, it could trigger and then give you a higher low. But I think that was the better one. Taken on the engulfing, it's just gone a bit too far for me, that is. So, and when I'm up a couple of grand, I tend to want to try and keep it. So, I want something a little bit better than that. If that was around about here, I may have a go at that. So, possible overshoot. I'd have to say yes. So, you can clearly see there's some congestion around here, which I suppose to be expected. So, I'm going to stick my neck out and go for that. So you can see there's some support there. So see what happens here. It's almost a head and shoulders, not quite, isn't it? Shoulder, head, shoulder. It'd have been better if that head would have been a bit higher. Yeah, it's just one of those things, bud, isn't it? Slightly better. That's the beauty of having a few charts. So, but yeah, it's just a bit too far down, that is really. You want to be out before these lows in an ideal world. So, you know, if that had been a bit shorter bar, because we were trapping that one and this is coming down and a little bit of pullback, as we've trapped that one, because there's a second entry long there, and this, let me just do this. There's a range here, so you can guarantee there's going to be traders taking that. Because we've had a break, made 2 attempts to go higher, I think now it's more likely to come down. So there'd have been traders trapped there, and then that one as well, a higher low, almost definitely. My only slight concern with that is look how far down we are before it closes. So I'd have liked to take that on the engulfing, I think, if it was a little bit shorter, because then once we got a bit lower, if you're taking that, you may have your stop down here, or it may be something to do with that one. But then once it got so far, we had that little surge down. But I'd have much preferred that, something like there. So at least then, there's your 2 points. So once you get a couple of ticks below there and we get that surge, you're kind of out then. But, you know, if you're okay at price action, you can pretty much read what's going on there. You know, we've pushed up a bit, come down, and you can see this is starting to, you know, fit the tops here. And you can see this was almost, we got a leg down with a break, longs there. And when it trapped that one as well, in fact, you may have even gone in there, really, because I think that stop would have been pretty safe. It's just a bit too big for me and a little bit too far down. So for some reason, I'm being all sensible lately. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Depending on how you got in there, it's quite a risk. That I'm risking 10 accounts, so that's $3,700 on getting in there. It's a bit too rich for me. But if it was up here, then I'd have had a go at that. But you know. But you'd expect that to work a lot more than it doesn't anyway. So you still, if you're playing the numbers game, and you just, you know, if you like Bart and can play the numbers game, and he just doesn't get affected by the losses, then that's a trade to take, because it's chances of it working are a lot better than the chances of it not working anyway. Because it's trapping longs. It's coming down then, isn't it? It's fair to say. So the chance of it automatically reversing and breaking above there, I think is probably unlikely. So as we know, there is a lot of congestion around here. So you can see it all there and there. So I'm not in the market for a short yet. So let's just, I'm looking for trap traders here. There's none I can see on any of these charts, really. I doubt there's any there because there's a channel there. So taking a short there isn't the most sensible thing to do when you're kind of in the middle of the channel. So I doubt there'll be any traders trapped there. Oh, it is technically a second entry short, but it's one, it's a doji, two, it's in the middle of this channel, so taking that is risky in my opinion. But so there may be a second entry, a lower high here. I'm still not taking a lower high here because I don't trust this. See, there's likely an overshoot anyway, so we've had an overshoot, a new low, and possibly a push up, which is why I've done this as a possible range. So channel with a break and a new high, but it's all above the EMA at the moment, so this isn't coming down for me just yet anyway. I'm not saying we can't have a couple of legs and then it may have a go, but so if we can trap second entry shorts here, we may get a failure to go long. We'll see. Now that's pretty bearish. I'd like to see that trigger and then give us something like that. That's a big ass bar, that is. Okay, it's triggered there. That's interesting. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to come down, but I like the fact that there's possibility of trap traders there. It's a second entry short. It may come rocketing down, but I'm not thinking about taking shorts here. Mind you, having said that, Taylor's took it, but I'm just not a fan of it with this. Taylor's in it and he's out right on that bottom, so Taylor's a trader I consider who knows what he's doing, but I just don't like this, especially with that overshoot. That would concern me to go short just yet. Thomas Wade's in it as well. Oh well. This is just looking a bit, you like it, do you? That overshoot concerns me, and a new low. Lower high now.
Order submitted.
No shows no overshoot now.
Order cancelled.
See, I've got mine there, and I'm kind of touching there, touching there, touching there. It's a little overshoot. Now, whether it makes any difference or not is one of those things, isn't it? Well, do you know what? I remember getting caught in a trade once, and it failed. And I remember emailing Mac, and he said, "Looks like you got a small overshoot." And this overshoot was about half the size of that. So, I mean, normally you would have that like that, wouldn't you? Fit in really nice. And then we've got this over. So it looks like an overshoot with a pullback and a new low. So sometimes then it can reverse, but if I think it's an overshoot, I always like to assume it. The trouble is, where do you keep pulling it out? Do you keep pulling it out? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. So we haven't made a new low yet, but this to me looks like. Trouble is, when I've taken a trade, I'm already up a couple of grand. Sometimes I get a bit extra cautious there. Yeah, see, Marco's had it as a bit of an overshoot as well. Yeah, see, Taylor's got it as an overshoot as well. Now, how big's an overshoot before you, do you know what I mean? It's come down and made a new low. A lot of times it reversed there, so he's took it. So Marco's got it as an overshoot. Taylor's got it as an overshoot. So whenever we do get an overshoot, I always just get a bit, you know what I mean? So, channel down, one attempt to go high, second attempt to go high. Is this going to finally take us down for a new low? Yeah, see, I've got mine exactly the same as Marco and Taylor. Let's have a look. Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same. And they've got the overshoot there as well. Let's have a look. You just have to kind of make a judgment, don't you? Oh, hello. Yeah, it's one of those ones you got to make a judgment. So we had 2 pushes down to make a matching low. You can see there's some support in. When we get very close to it, sometimes it'll push up, trap some shorts, and then work up. So we got a leg up, 2 legs down, then a leg up. So are we making some kind of another channel down? It could be. We got a leg down with a correction leg and leg, 2 legs back and a leg. So that's a possibility. The reason you have an overshoot is at the beginning of the channel, on never started at the candle wick. You always have it past the candle. I have. I've got it exactly the same as Thomas Waite's got it. Marco's got. He's got it right starting from the thing. In fact, he's got it less higher than I have. I've not heard that. Past the candle. You don't have the right angle. See, it looks all right to me. Touching from there, touching there. So most others on here have got it. Thomas has got it. Marco. Swept liquidity at range highs. We'll put in low now. What do you think? We'll get a new low. There's probably a new channel working anyway. It's hard to say at the moment. See, there is this support here, so it's hard to know. Let's leave it for now anyway. Yeah, see, that one looks okay. That chart looks okay. That shows an overshoot. Strange. That's the trouble. I've hit it exactly the same place there, exactly the same place there, and it's not showing an overshoot. I was more focused on this one at the time. If the legs were a bit clearer, I think it would have been valid. Yeah, it's just one of those ones, isn't it? Whenever the trouble is, that time I got caught out with that. Max said to me, if it looks like an overshoot, treat it as an overshoot. So for me, as an overshoot can result in a bigger correction, which we didn't get. It can result in a full-out reversal, or it can result in a pullback, a new low, and then a full reversal. So that's the thing. Whenever we come back here and we got very close to this support, and then we get a channel with a break, I always kind of think it's better to take the lower high. But I've been trapped in trades like this before, and they just continue up, and you know. So it's just one of those things. If there's ever a possible overshoot, he said to me, if you think it's at an overshoot, treat it as though it's at an overshoot and hold back on a trade. So it's just one of those things. But that's the trouble I have. If you look on this top small chart on the left, touch at the top, touch there, it fits nice. It's not showing any overshoot, but here it clearly is, and that's the difference with a lot of these. That's a sort of a bearish bar, but it may be bearish where it's got a wick and only the wick's gone through the bottom. So it's just that's the thing sometimes, but that's one of those things, isn't it? And like I say, I always get super strict when I've already taken a trade and I'm already a couple of grand up. I don't tend to like. I mean, if I can get a trade a day, 10 grand up, 2 grand up, it's 40 grand a month. I mean, that would get, once my accounts get to a nice comfortable level, 40 grand a month, even if I got half of that or even a quarter of that on a bad month. So I tend to always like to just get something a little bit less concerning. And with that getting so close, with the overshoot and then all of a sudden coming down and getting so close to these lows, I always get a bit cautious there because I've seen these turn and end up trapping some shorts and kind of going off in that direction. So if it's too close to these lows for me, I just tend to hold on. So I'm just going to put that there in case we get a little bit of because there's almost like a little range there, and if we get a break out of it, a failed breakout, it may push up and tag this. So a little push and little push with a bearish bar here, confirming that channel, then maybe down. We'll see. And maybe treat it as a failed breakout. Because the way we pushed up and then reversed, we went up to that midline and reversed, tells me that we got a leg down with a correction, quite possibly going to come down. So let's see if this triggers with a bearish bar and then comes down. Right, it has triggered, but I'm not taking it. This is just purely what I think is going to happen, but what really happens is two different things. But I think this is the type of trade that might come down. But there will be a bit of liquidity up here. So maybe we got a leg, break new low, 2 attempts to push higher, and then failure. Who knows? If it goes higher than this, then more likely a range, which is another reason why I didn't want to go short after we got that low. A couple of ticks off this support here. So this now, if it doesn't finish bearish, I was going to say is looking like maybe a bigger range here, but there's 2 attempts to go higher. I like this second attempt. Not quite as high as the first attempt. So same again. Neither of these are closed above that midline, so it's made 2 attempts to push higher. It's got to push through that midline really, and then get a second entry short. So maybe yeah, coming down. Actually, let's just put an actual chart there, channel there, so it fits on the other side. It's a bit too early yet, really. We've got to get down below here. Because there is always a possibility we could be slowly pushing up, so it could end up being something like that. I don't know. Maybe. See if that gets taken out. This, yeah, so this is looking more rangy now to me. So we had 3 attempts to go higher there, and each time we got a little bit higher. So short isn't my preference at the moment. Hey Nick, how you doing, mate? How you doing, buddy? Do you think the markets have improved a little bit lately? There seems to be a few more setups around. There was a few nice setups yesterday and the other day as well. It seems to be improving just a tad. Fingers crossed. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I wish I'd keep my mouth shut instead of taking the risk. As soon as you mention it, that things are getting easier, things start to toughen up. But it's going to be like that from time to time. We are going to go through times where where it's a bit hard. But it's hard to know really what makes the markets volatile. I mean, we've obviously got the obvious bad news. You know, I'm pretty sure I wasn't trading with COVID. I just started, I think, late during COVID. But obviously, COVID was a time where there's a lot of volatility. I'd say 9/11 as well. I got no idea what it was like there, but I'm guessing it was shocking. In fact, I believe someone told me the market closed for, was it 2 days or 40, something like that, for the first time in God knows how many years. But that thing with Trump the other day seemed to spike crypto, which is strange, isn't it? Beggars belief, really, why something like that would spike crypto. I don't know. Trump possession. You just don't know, do you? It's hard to say. I mean, I wonder if he realises how lucky he is. Well, I know you don't want to say that someone who's been shot at is lucky, but that's about as close as you can get to someone without doing some serious damage. I mean, it's another inch and a half to the right, and that could have been, well, an inch and a half to the right. I think the chance of him losing his life then would have been pretty high, I reckon. 3 charts looking at. Okay, I haven't actually, mate. So I'm in Thomas Wade's Discord, and Thomas Wade's in there, obviously. Marco's in there, and Taylor as well. So I'll show you quickly. So what a few people are doing is having either a second or possible third chart. Now, this is my main chart, so if I select the data series, I have break at end of day selected. So if you open a duplicate chart and deselect that and click apply, then reload your historic, it changes your chart ever so slightly, typically giving you a better signal bar, because so many times in a downtrend we'll come right back to the chart, right back to the top of a channel, but we won't get a good enough signal bar. Now, a lot of the time in a downtrend, traders they put orders here, sell orders, because when it comes back, chances are it's going to go down. But we wait for a signal bar. But so many of the time, you get a lovely setup, but the signal bar's naff. So if you look at these two, well, I've got 3 going on here. They're all slightly different. And the theory is it gives you a better setup. But what I'll do for you, Taylor actually wrote a bit of a paper on it. It's called Double Chart Setup. So he won't mind. I'll bring it on the screen for you so you can phrase it and have another little look a little bit later. But that's basically it there. So if expand it for you. But that's the principle anyway. So if I leave that bit there for a couple of seconds, and you can come back and have a look at this later then, and then I'll bring it down to there. He explains what he does basically. So you can freeze that there, and then I'll bring it down to this last bit, and then there's just a bunch of questions then. But that's basically what he does, and he got this from, I believe, a woman who's been trading it for years. And that's it then, just a bunch of questions, I think. But Taylor is from Top Pick Trading, so he's with Marco and the other guy. So that's the theory basically. You get. I started with 2 charts, but I was speaking to a couple of guys yesterday who have 3. But if you notice, they're all slightly different. We've got a bullish bar on that small one there. It's bullish, but it's red, and there it's quite different. And same again here. So hopefully then you have a better chance of a setup. Because it is frustrating sometimes when we get a really nice second entry, but the signal bar's just a bit too poor. But at least then you don't even really need to look at these others until you come into a setup. That's why I haven't blown up. I don't need to zoom out and look at these because they're the same chart basically, with just a slightly different ending. But it does give you a better chance of a setup. Yesterday there was a better setup on one. And earlier on as well I took one. So, because I did trade the CL for a while, but I found if I was focused on the ES for 10 or 15 minutes, looking at something, sometimes, yeah, it's good, mate. It's worth doing. Or even just have an extra one just to keep a look at. Or at the end of the day, just, just browse through and find out where your setups were, where the NAF signal bars were, and then just see if there was a better signal bar. But the beauty is, because I have all 3 on the same account, if I open up a trade here, say a buy
Order
limit,
submitted.
it's on every chart, so I can just grab whichever one's the best and drag it into place. And then close it
Order
down. So
cancelled.
it works really well, but you've got 3 chances then to get a slightly better signal bar. Because I was noticed on Thomas Way's Discord, people kept showing really good trades, and I'm thinking, I'm not getting the same bars. And then I realised that's what they're doing, but some people are trading 3. But you got 3 chances, so yeah, have a look back on that and freeze it and just have a quick read through it. How long have we been going? Just over an hour. Excellent. So, yeah, it's clearly looking like a range, which is why I left that one. If there'd have been a lower high, slightly better, I may have had a go at that one, but because of the slight overshoot on my chart and a new low and very close to these lows, I just decided to sit tight on that. But we didn't quite make a new low, and we are now pushing up, so that's what I was assuming that happened, but it did work. So, okay, folks, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. My mouse drying up. So I'm just going to pop that there quickly. In fact, let's move it over a little bit. So, yeah, you too, bud. Have a good day, Nick. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave you for 3 to 5 minutes, make a quick cup of tea, but my mouth's getting a bit dry, so I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes. So up to the top, you can clearly see now there's support up there. Let's put that there actually. It's bouncing there multiple times, so let's give it a chance to come back and push up. Otherwise, it just really looks like it's ranging, doesn't it? So lower high, just can't get into this yet, just in case, because we've had this leg up. We could potentially see, for me, we've had a leg and a leg, but there's always a possibility of that leg and a leg, so I'm just not in the market to go short just yet. So there is a lower high there, but the trouble is we could get it could trigger. We may get a second entry long and it may go up. There's always a possibility. After that push up, say, this may do the same. And it may not. We haven't really had a break and a new high out of this yet, see. Now, whether it will or not, sometimes these channels, as we know, go straight up and hit support. They can just turn, but I want to give this chance to make a new high or maybe a possible. So that lower high on that chart there, triggered by one tick, and it looks like it's pushing up. So that's why I didn't think about going short, even though we're seem to be finding support. So if you'd have took that one, trigger just stopped you out. Because we got so much support there, I just can't go long into that. If you look on this main chart, there is a second entry long, but at the moment, because of this, once, twice, three, four times, and a few times at the bottom, I just can't think about going long just yet because of this. So whether it'll make a difference or not, I don't know, but only room for a max scalp. Yes, if you scalp a point, there's probably a little bit more leeway. But I go for a couple of points. I'm not a massive fan of that one, to be honest with you. It's a bit too far from near me, and it's a little bit congested. And it is on the others as well. If you look, yes, just a little bit congested there. So it's a bit too far from near my leg. I'd like to come down here really, because it could trap you, and then come down for another leg before it pushes out. It's hard to say. That's if it goes higher. And same on some of these as well. It is very similar. It's just a little bit sideways. You took 4 ticks, good on you. Yeah, if you go for a small profit, you may get up to these highs, but because we've been up there before, this is the 4th time we've been up there, and we've rejected every time, so this is the 5th time. What does that mean? Is it going to reject again? It may do. So, okay, so that's made a new high. So, leg with a break, new high. So that's not fitting too bad. So let's see what happens now we're above this, see if it continues on up. Well, so far, we've not had any rhythmic issues today, or yesterday actually, which is quite refreshing. Not that I've heard of. There was a trade of 8 issue, but doesn't affect me, fortunately. I mean, to be honest with you, if you trade with rhythmic, you have enough. You have enough of your own problems, don't you? Without worrying about anybody else's. So same again, we've managed to clear out any cobwebs up here, but we've had a pullback, so whether we'll now come down or whether we'll continue on up, your guess is as good as mine, but this is definitely starting to look like a range. So channel break, well, I'll get rid of that for the minute. So we got a channel with a break, push up for a new high, cleaned out any possible. We're not at all-time highs yet. That's up here, so let's put something there just in case we do. So leg, we could have another leg, so we could get up here. So if you'd taken that, is it going to work or are you going to get trapped? After this has come back, after a break a new high, I wouldn't be looking to go long. Certainly not there anyway. So I would suggest this is probably more likely going to get stopped out. It's only really a first entry anyway, so okay, it's held. Okay, let's see if this stop holds. Possible second entry long. We're clearly finding support along there. So for me, whether it comes down or not, I don't know. But yeah, it was almost definitely going to get taken out that for me. So second entry long. Let's see if we trap some. What I will say though, do I want to go short because there is what looks like some possible range there. So there's probably going to be some liquidity below that line there. So that bullish bar hasn't triggered. So I'm just sitting tight here at the moment, not going short, not going long. It's gone a bit too far, that. Take a short, although if it does get down there, close there, it more than likely continue down, I'd have said. Maybe a slightly wider channel there. So that has pushed down and bounced off the midline. Let's see if it takes that liquidity out there. So if you took that bar, you'd have comfortably got 2 points anyway. I don't like it. To me, I don't like going short at the bottom of there. I'm hoping it's going to go down. But if you took that, you'd have got 2 points. Went down for 2 3/4. Yeah, so Thomas Way's just widened his as well, so it works nice, that does. So leg down, are we going to get 2 attempts to go higher? First attempt, second attempt, and then down for another leg. Let's have a look. So put that there. That would take us down to this area. If we do push down below this, it's clearly range at the moment, isn't it? But the bigger picture is we've had sort of 2 legs up. We could have a leg back and a leg back, and then some further upwards. Based on just, what I'm seeing leg-wise is a leg and a leg. 1 attempt lower, second attempt lower, and then something else. But who knows? Excuse me a sec. I was called away as a fashion guru. My daughter's going out. My 15-year-old daughter's going out. So she needed some fashion help. I don't know why she asked me, but there you go. Okay, so we've broken above this now. So are we going higher? I did have a look there to see if there was any type of a channel there. It didn't jump out at me, put it that way. Oh, a couple of other people have got them. So maybe it is. It's not what I would call the nicest channel in the world, but maybe that'd be better. Okay, so maybe there is. We'll see what happens here. If this thing comes back, I can ditch that anyway, because at the moment, based on here and there, it's mainly ranging. But as we know, we often push up into something, go sideways, and then push up. But I'd have preferred a leg down and another bounce, really, before we pushed up. A lot of times we go up, we make 2 attempts to go lower and push up again. So, just going to leave this for now. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, so measured leg needs to be, in fact, that can go down a bit, but yeah, we clearly have a measured leg there anyway, leg and a leg, and we're out the top. If this is a channel, we're out the top of it anyway, or a slight overshoot. But this could come back a little bit and then go off in another separate little channel of its own, something like that. So we got a leg up with what looks like another possible leg working up, which should take us towards this area and all-time highs. So yesterday, all-time high, day before, all-time high, day before that, all-time high. So we're constantly breaking new highs every day. So we've had sort of a couple of legs back here and a leg up. I don't think this is going to be any different. I'll be surprised if we don't get up to well above here yet. Push up, leg back. Yeah, I'll be surprised if we don't get up here at some point. We're not actually that far away. I mean, from all-time highs, we're about 9 points away, 8 points away, so not far. Let's bring it into play. I'm using Tradeovate today and everything just froze. Anyone else? Tradeovate's had a couple of issues yesterday. I don't know too much about it because I don't use it, so it's not something that's in the forefront of my mind. Let me just have a look on one of the Facebook groups, see if anybody's reported that. But same issues with Tradeovate like yesterday. That was 20 minutes ago. So yeah, it does sound like there's still some problems around, I think. So you just got to be a bit careful. Just froze on you, John, as well, did it? Okay, so there's a couple of you. A keep tree. Okay. Yeah, it is so frustrating. I mean, trading's stressful enough as it is without worrying about your equipment breaking down. Okay, that's 3, you know. Yeah, so if you're using at least you're green, yeah, you don't mind breaking down when you're green. I mean, it is frustrating because trading is hard enough as it is without having to worry about software freezing up and possibly locking you into a trade you can't get out of. What I will say is, if anybody hasn't, on your mobile phone, download the Rhythmic app. If you log into the Rhythmic app, it automatically kicks you out of Ninja Trader. And if you've got any accounts open, you can click one button across and then confirm it and close all your accounts instantly. I've played around with it and done it lots of times just to get used to it. And it works. So I had an evaluation I was trying it with a month and a half, 2 months ago. I'd just chuck an evaluation in and I was just having a go at capturing a bigger move. So I practiced open it quickly. So yeah, if you ever have any issues with your internet going down or anything freezing and you're in trades, straight onto your mobile, select Rhythmic, you'll automatically log into your account. It literally takes you about 20 seconds to shut everything down, maybe not even that. So just keep that in mind. Done for the day. Lost 8 PAs with 21 green days due to Rhythmic issues. Moving to trade of 8 and now this. Oh, I'm sorry about that to hear that, John. It is frustrating. It is so annoying. I know that Apex are working on a new data provider, but that's not going to help you at the moment. So my sympathies to you, mate. If it's happened to a few people, that's a good thing because then you may have a chance of getting your accounts reset. But if I was you, I would put in a ticket and just say you're an unhappy customer thinking of moving. This has happened to me again. Can you please help me out and reset my accounts? Completely unacceptable. Yeah, it is. I mean, I've said this from day one. Now, I like Apex. I use them. So it's in my interest for them to do well. But whenever you tend to get a blanket outright problem, they do tend to reset people's accounts. But if you're among maybe a dozen or two, they tend to not. As far as I'm concerned, I think that if you sell a pack, and I've said this a million times, so you're probably going to hear it again. If they sell you a package, in part of that package, they specify you have to use this bit of software. If it breaks down, they have to take responsibility for it. You can't sell someone as part of something, and when some of it breaks down, we don't use that. It just doesn't wash with me, that one. So that's my only gripe with Apex. Apart from that, I've got no problem with them. But I don't think you can sell somebody something knowing that it may break down and say, well, it's not our fault. If you sell something, you have to make sure it works no matter what. It doesn't matter what data series they use. It needs to be reliable. Otherwise, what they should do is when you come to get a new evaluation, they should say in bright red letters, capital letters, that due to Rhythmic issues, there is a possibility that it could break down, rendering your account blown. Whereas we may fix a bunch of them, we don't need to take responsibility for small term. And I think they need to do that because there's going to be new traders signing up all the time, and they don't know about these things. So, if you sell a package and you use some other company's piece of software and if it breaks down, you've got to stand up, haven't you? That's my only gripe with Apex. So let's have a look here. That is clearly an overshoot. No argument there. There is a possible larger channel out there. So So clear overshoot from this if you think it's a channel. I actually don't think it's that bad. We've got 1, 2, bunch of touches there, couple there. It's clearly trying to make another push up, isn't it? But as we've got a measured leg up here and new highs, I still think we're likely to continue up. We just may get a deeper correction. Just wondering whether that's like that with a new high. I'll put that like that. Just I'll leave one like it, but I'll take it off. But we've automatically hit a point here. 3 little tops there and a drop. Yeah. Great tip, the cell phone. Yeah, it absolutely works a treat. If I logged into mine now, it would kick me off Ninja Trader on me screen, and literally it takes seconds. I'm telling you now. Download it, try it, go into your account, and then have a play around with it. But it's great if you're in a trade. Now, the only thing that it doesn't do is if I drop in a limit order here,
Order submitted.
it won't show that, and I can't close that. It'll only let me close active trades. So you can
Order
manage
canceled.
a trade in there. You can watch it go up and down, and you can select a red cross and then confirm it, and it closes everything. So it's great in the case of your software freezes or something happens with Rhythmic or your internet goes down. So yeah. As someone coming into futures from options there and new to prop firms, Apex customer service seems very hit and miss. More miss. Yeah, agreed. I do come getting on. Eval, I doubted I consider them. Okay, so Apex for me. Now, I'll tell you now, I'm an affiliate for Apex. So if you guys use my code, I get a commission from. Now, the only reason I do it is, one, because it doesn't cost you guys anything extra. So I will say that straight away. So I may be a bit biased, but you'll see 2 affiliate codes on my screen, one for Apex and one for Replicanto. And the reason I do that is because I use both those softwares. There's my Replicanto trade copy there. And as you know, I use Apex. You can see Apex there. So I have had other companies saying, we'll give you a code, use us, but I only put affiliates for the bits of software or platforms that I use, nothing more. So Apex for me at the moment are going through a few teething problems. They've become very successful very quickly. They're getting a lot of people coming through their doors. They've had some great offers, and in all honesty, I think the software is struggling. So that's one thing to consider. But they are trying to put it right, and rightly so. They don't want the pain in the arse either, to be honest with you. And secondly, what was I going to say? It's all right, I've just had a mental block out. It'll come to me. I've just had a complete mental breakdown. Okay, they've got certain rules, like all companies have got rules. Now, they didn't police those rules initially, so people were taking trades where they were against the rules, and they got away with it for a long period of time. And then all of a sudden, Apex decided that they were going to start to implement the rules, which rendered a lot of payouts invalid. So there was a bit of an uproar. There was a few other streamers that ripped into them a bit. In all fairness, I think it may have been better if they'd have said, from the beginning of next month, from now on, if you don't follow the rules, there is a possibility. So I think they would have got less of a backlash if they'd have given a little bit of notice. But anyway, it's water under the bridge. So that's why there's a little bit more talk and a little bit more of a red flag attached to Apex. As far as I'm concerned, they're a good company. I'm happy with them. They do have issues with software with other companies as well, so don't think that they don't. So I wouldn't concern yourself too much about it. And if you're only getting into it, you're going to be getting one evaluation at a time, so you're not putting a lot of money into it. So I wouldn't worry about it at the moment. And I'd say by the time you'll be thinking about having a go at PAs, hopefully these issues will be sorted out. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's okay. They just need to adjust what big customers base. Yeah, they do. Because I know PAs are still a simulated account, but to me and you who trade them, we're trading real live money. At the moment, I've got about $14,000 into my accounts. Would have been a lot higher, but I had a few little hiccups when I went down to a contract. But that, to me, is my money that I've built up, and I've taken time to build that money. So all of a sudden, to have a failure in software and to end up losing it is crippling. It's absolutely, completely counterproductive to trade. Why would you bother trading? You know, if you went to a showroom to buy a new TV, and just as you were going to pay for it, the guy said there is a chance it might break down and never work again. Could happen tomorrow, could happen in a month. You'd probably not buy it, would you? So I just don't see how you can say to someone, it's not our problem. I'm sorry you've lost your 10 accounts. You spent 3 months and all your money working on. I don't think you can do that. Otherwise, your product's not up to it. So I won't worry too much. Apex are trying to sort these problems out, and I believe they're spending money and time and manpower to sort things out. So, you know, companies do have problems from time to time. It's a fact of life. You know, some of the biggest companies in the world have had problems. Was it a bunch of years ago? Apple's had problems with their phones catching fire, so they got a right kick up the arse for that. Press were all over them. Share price took a dive. So, you know, even the biggest companies in the world, they have teething problems from time to time. So it's just Apex's turn. But just evaluations. You don't need to worry too much about them anyway. Just, you know, you want to get some experience of having some sort of skin in the game. So, overshoot. Channel with a break and a new low. So what are we doing at the moment? I'd say quite likely still higher. We've got a measured leg up here, and we've got all-time highs. Yesterday, I can bring that back a bit. Yesterday we made a new all-time high, as we did the day before and the day before that. So the way this thing's working, 2 legs up, 2 legs down, 1 leg up, second leg. This is where I expect to be later on today. It's you can clearly see what the market's doing. 2 legs, 2 legs, 2 legs. And we're clearly slowly again working up. So this would be my target at some point in the day. Overshoot, probably just get a bigger correction, but we are stalling now, so whether it'll go much lower, I don't know. Yeah, just getting there. And a tip for you as well, only ever take, while you're sort of new and coming into it, only ever take 1 evaluation at a time. If you get 5 evaluations and you copy trade them, you make 1 mistake, you make 5 mistakes. They do have discounts. I have got a discount code up there. If you use it, it's appreciated. But just stick to 1. You know, learning to trade is expensive enough as it is, without getting yourself 4 or 5. You know, I know the rush to try and build and grow and build. I've been there myself, but it just gets expensive. So just keep hold of those purse strings and just keep your losses to a minimum, and you'll have a lot less sleepless nights. So hopefully Apex sort all these problems out. It would be nice to be able to trade, because I've got 20 accounts, and I'd love to trade all of them. I really would, but if something goes wrong, just on that one odd occasion I lose all 20, that'd be heartbreaking. You know, it's taken me a long time to get here. And there's, you know, $2,800 of fees to get those accounts. So it's a lot of money to lose. So what are we doing? Yeah, you'll have a lot less stress as well. There's nothing worse. I can't tell you how many accounts I have just thrown away. I've done about 565 failed evaluations. And I think, what's my earliest PA? My earliest PA is 64, so I've blown 63 PA accounts. And about 565 evaluations. I sat here with a bottle of I opened a bottle of Balvenie 12-year-old single malt one night after trading on a Friday, and I had a couple of doubles, and before the night was up I'd blown 10 evaluations, one at a time. How much they cost? Well, I've bought a lot of them when they were 90% off and they were about $16 or $17. But I never pay more than 80%. 80% is about $33. But I got a lot of them I tended to blow more, shall we say, when we have the 90% off. I think they're about $16, which to me is about £13 English, maybe a bit even cheaper than that. So the trouble is, the cheaper they are, the less respect you have for them and the quicker you blow them. So cheap doesn't always mean better. Cheap means you just buy twice as much. And unfortunately, it can be a bit of a dodgy habit to get into. You've got to be very careful. There are times where I felt really addicted and I found out I just could not control myself. Fortunately, touch wood, the last time I did anything stupid or any type of revenge trading was about three odd months ago now. So I'm fortunately past that one. It does go with time. And you will get to the stage where you start to respect what you've got. It's very easy to throw money away. Very easy. Put it this way, the first experience I ever had of trading was about 4 years, this November, I think. I was watching YouTube and I saw a guy called Andrew Lockwood, who was a currency trader. And he worked in the London Stock Exchange during the 80s. He spent a lot of years working for Swiss Bank. And in the 2000s, early 2000s, he was in Singapore at the time, setting up their computer system. And it's when everything started to go more computer-based. And then he decided to come back to London and trade his own accounts. And he kind of had to learn to trade again. And he told me he lost £150,000 learning to trade again. And this was a guy, who'd worked in stock exchange for big city banks. So it just goes to show you, just because you worked on a trading floor, before computers to come in, you're completely in a different world, aren't you? So the more sort of, let's call it sort of excess money you have, the more you can blow. So you really have to be sensible and just keep control of it. Buy them when they're cheap. And just try and get a bit of value out. You are going to blow a few. You've got to get that out your system. You've got to do some stupid stuff. It's all part of the craziness that comes with the emotional, contact you have, the emotional connection you have with trading. So you've kind of got to really. I'm not saying everybody's the same, but I'd say probably 98% of people will pretty much treat them the same way. Some, maybe not so much. There'll be others. I know a guy who's blown over 1,200 of them. And that's just what I know about. There's probably a lot more. So if you've got a lot more money to waste, you can blow a lot more money. So just, keep control of that. Give yourself set limits where you maybe only allow yourself one a week or something like that. That way you keep it. You're at 400, are you? Yeah. I remember having a chat on Nutty's stream a few months back. And I said I joined the 500 club, and I thought I was going to get ripped into. And I had loads of people saying, I was there a year and a half ago. Nutty had done more than me. There was loads in the 600s and 800s. One guy said he'd done over 1,200. So, yeah, if you think if you keep quiet and don't say nothing, you tend to think it's just you. But when you start to speak up, it's amazing how many other people there are out there exactly the same. So don't think you're worse than everybody else. Don't think you can't trade and everyone else can. I tell you something now, everyone goes through the same thing. I blew 6 PAs, like 60. Yeah, see, you sound a bit more in control. Well, you sound a lot more in control than I was, put it that way. But everyone's different. You know, some people are risk takers. Some people have a tendency to gamble a little bit. I think that was me, if I'm fair. But I'm very careful now. I don't take stupid risks. I don't gamble. I don't have the urge to come in. It's just gone. It was kind of a weird experience when it first happened. I expected it to come back and it just never did. So, yeah. It's hard work learning to trade. It really tests you. It pushes you to the limits, really. It does. I found it was affecting my mood at home. I remember my wife saying to me she dreaded me coming down, thinking I was going to be miserable and grumpy. I came down one day and I'd just blown 5 accounts. And for the third time in the 30 years I've been together with my wife, I had tears in my eyes rolling down my cheeks. So it really can affect you. So just try and be aware of that, and try as well not to beat yourself up when you do stupid things. You're doing what comes natural to human beings. We lose money, we panic. You know, if you're walking down the street and you lost $200 out your wallet, you'd be panicking. You wouldn't be thinking clearly. So don't beat yourself up. I mean, I've done some stupid stuff. I remember punching myself in the jaw once and it ached for days. I threw a monitor out of a window once. So I've come very close to smashing monitors. I smashed a keyboard. I rammed a pen into a desk. There was ink everywhere. So you do some stupid things. But just try and keep control of that and don't beat yourself up, because what you're doing is natural. So don't be hard on yourself. Losing trades, getting trapped, teaches you. It really does. It teaches you not to do it. Steady parents, my cut, it's top step. Then one day, some stupid stuff and just blew it. Awful when you know how stupid it was. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? But that does get less and less. It definitely does. Don't think it doesn't, because it does. You know, if you went down to the gym and started lifting weights, you'd start to see yourself losing weight. You start to see your muscles firming up. But when you're trying to change that mindset, you can't see what's going on inside your brain. So it's very hard to kind of think you're getting progress, but you are. People tend to focus on the negative side and the negative feelings, and they don't realise all those hours after hours they're sat there, their skill level's climbing, and sooner or later you'll hit that seesaw moment when it'll start to tip in your favour. Your skill level will make you more trades than lose trades, and once your emotional side starts to settle, you'll start to get that. You'll start to plateau. Then things don't get worse, and then you'll start to slowly grow, and then you kind of get this bit of an aha moment that why didn't I do this earlier? But your mindset and the stress and panic just doesn't allow it. So what are we doing? I still think we're going to go up over that from that overshoot. This just may be a slightly bigger pullback. We do seem to be finding some support there. But yeah, don't be hard on yourself. You can make yourself feel really miserable at times. I used to get so embarrassed about coming downstairs to my wife. Half the time I never told. She didn't know the half of it. She knows the truth now. She knows what it cost me. But she was surprisingly supportive. And it does help if you've got someone who's supportive. But get some friends as well to chat with. I chat with lots of people. Not as much as I used to, but when I used to really have tough times, amazing, after a bad stream, I used to get my messages, support, and it does give you a lift. So how long have we been going for? 2 hours and 10 minutes. So what is going on here? It's the best I've been. I'm slowly building now, but I had a little bit of a rocky time. Just the amount of accounts I'm trading does affect you a little bit. But I went down to one contract a couple of weeks ago just to take that slight bit of pressure off, and it had the opposite effect. I started taking much riskier trades, which I never really do. So I've gone back to 2, and it's just that right amount of pressure now. But I'd love to be trading all 20. I'd have $27,000 in my account now if I could trade all 20. You technically get, I've got $2,000 on that one trade. I've been up $4,000 now, but with that little bit of concern about rhythmic, I have to sort of give myself a little fail-safe should something go wrong. But hopefully, next couple of months, if they can sort all this out, we can have a little bit less stress on my trading. So, probably I'd say a little bit more than 2 measured legs down there, yeah. But we're finding some support at this midline, so just wondering whether there is anything larger here. From there. Could be, eh? Yeah, it's possible. It's a bit too early, but let's put that there. So we've got a touch there, touch there, touch there. In fact, they can probably come down a fraction. Oh, don't like that one. So there may be a spike in the channel. Mm. 2 legs down. There was kind of a second entry short there, but that's a million miles away from the M8, really. Because we have got a slight upward bias, so I wouldn't be thinking about shorting there, especially after this little double bottom there. Whether it'll work or not is a different matter, but there is a little double bottom there. So that has triggered now. So let's see what happens here. I think there's probably going to be a couple of traders in that short. Just the fact that we've had that double bottom off that. See what I like about it. That bearish bar there is triggered, and that bearish bar is triggered. So for me, this could push up. I'm not saying it will, but for me, there is a slight bullish imbalance here, and the way we had that double bottom along there is enough to keep me out of that trade. Gotta go. Yeah, you too, bud. Have a good day. I won't be far behind you, actually. I'll be done in about 10 or 15 minutes. Just see what happens here. So this may come down. For me, it's at the moment, I'm just not a fan of what's going on here at the moment. Whether that is a bigger channel or not, I don't know. But we do seem to be working up. We came back to it, we worked here. We came back again, we worked here. So for me, it's just a bit risky, that. Maybe a little bit sideways, so we may get a leg. If this is a channel that is going to come down, we may get a leg and another leg. So it's not for me anyway. We've had two legs down, second leg's bigger. But with this down here and this down here at the moment, short isn't on my radar just at the moment. Yeah, there's nothing here. It's a little bit sideways, to be honest with you. That's a bit of a doji. It's a bit too far from this if you wanted to go short. It might work, but at the moment, I'm just not sure about this, just in case there is something larger. Definitely some short strap there, from there, possibly there. So second entry long, which is triggered. For me, these are vulnerable, but it could be a double trap. So possible failure now. It's clearly getting sideways and choppy, so even if I wanted to go short, I couldn't here at the moment. We've just, not only that, we've just bounced off the bottom. Same again, it's as good as a doji. It's struggling to get down. It's at the wrong area to go short for me. It's a bit congested. Now also we've had two little legs down, a leg and a leg. There's just no setup really. You can't take that one. You can't really take that one with the big stem at the bottom. Yeah, in my opinion, you have to take that into consideration. We've got a bounce there and a bounce there, and there, a tick above it. I think you have to just appreciate the fact that we've got a lot of support there exactly at the bottom, and we start down here with a bounce there. So touch here, touch, 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 touch all the way along there, a double bottom and a bounce there. We came down, touch that. So you have to take that. Like, I know it's a bigger channel, and a lot of the times these are a bit irrelevant really if you trade in here, but the fact that it's come down to this level, you have to pay attention to. Now this could be a leg down, 2 attempts up, and it may come down, but you can't deny that. This would be more of a trade that I would say would be better to take 2 attempts higher, but the fact that that's there like that, you have to look at that. So what would you have got there if you'd have got in there? Let's say you took that lower high, either of those, if we go from there. So if we go from there, so you'd have got a 0.75. So if you went for the bottom, you'd have squeezed a 0.75. Went 1 tip from there, which I think was, if you were going to trade it, was probably the only bar that would do it, but it starts going sideways, and that bit, it comes down, touches that line, and then turns. So it's just too risky to trade there. You have to take that into consideration. We've got 2 perfect touches there. We've got a double bottom there. And then if you look here, there's touches there, there's touches there, there's touches there. There's a perfect touch there. And so you have to, and it is a leg and a leg. It is visually working up, and it works actually perfect right to the nearest tick at the top as well. So that, it's clearly bouncing up something. It's clearly, so to go short into there for me is just too risky. You have to pay attention to it. I've done that before, gone short and thought, why hasn't it worked? And then when I've zoomed out, I've gone, oh, right. Now, when I'm in a channel here, if I'm looking for a trade here, drawing that big channel there it's completely irrelevant. It does nothing. But when it comes right to the bottom of it, you have to pay attention to that, especially if you're thinking you're in a downtrend, thinking about going short. You have to pay attention to that. So breakout, pullback. I mean, it could still come down. You just don't know, but you have to at least pay attention to it. So is there going to be traders that may not look at a bigger picture, that may just see that as leg and a leg, fell breakout, which is triggered? Now look what's happening already. I'm not saying it's not going to work. We could get a leg and a leg, and it may have another go. But when you see it trigger like that, a couple of ticks and start to turn, if I was in that bar now, I'd be shitting bricks. Excuse my French. Sorry about that. Sorry about that barking. My daughter's just turned up. Oh, excuse me just a second. Sorry about that. So let's see what's going on anyway. But 2 legs up. TJ, that's a name I haven't seen for a while. How you doing, pal? How are you and your good lady? Still plugging away? So what is going on here? So let's have a look. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Good to see you still here. I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm not revenge trading anymore. I've had 20p accounts now. The most recent one was about 6 weeks. So things have changed for me now. So I'm slowly building these accounts now until I can get up to some payment levels. So good. It's been a long, tough journey. Frustrating as hell at times. But I'm finally aiming in the right direction, thank God. So yeah, how are you two getting on? Getting any consistency? How you doing? I just wouldn't go short here, just not at the moment. Let's see if that traps and goes short. For me, I think they're more vulnerable, personally. Same here, slowly building PS. Good on you, mate. Good on you. That's what it's about, isn't it? Finally getting to that stage where you start to get some consistency. You stop doing stupid stuff. You kind of mature as a trader, don't you? Excuse me. And then hopefully things improve from then on. You start to take regular payments and then join the ranks of the consistently profitable trader, which is kind of where we're all trying to get to, isn't it? It is a marathon, yeah. It's almost like a marathon with tiny little baby steps an inch at a time, isn't it? Sometimes you're going to stumble and not, give your foot a whack and stuff like this, and you take a couple of steps back, sit down for a bit, and it is lots of that, isn't it? You have got to be patient, yeah. You do grow to be patient. I can sit here for 4 hours now and not take a trade. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. But you look at my trading 12 months ago, and I don't know how many times I sat there nice and patiently and took a stupid trade in the last 10 minutes and ended up going in the red. And I'm happy with one trade a day. In fact, I rarely take more than one trade a day, to be honest with you. I just sit and wait for that good setup and take it. And at the moment, I'm only trading half of my PAs, purely and simply because of the slight, the little problems we're getting with rhythmic. But one trade, 2 points, 10 accounts, $2,000 if you can do that a day, one a day. To wait for that. Yeah, you certainly do, mate. You certainly do. Yeah, it is a slow journey, isn't it? But one you start to understand as you sort of progress. You start to, and there you are. How you doing? Yeah, it's just something that's just taken time over, over the time I've been doing it, really. But you do, it's kind of like really growing up, isn't it? You kind of, you start off at your young years, then you're at your teenage years, and then that's the time where you know it all, and you don't listen to your parents, and then after a while you realise your parents were right, and you start to mature and grow up. Good to hear my lovely voice. I don't know, my wife would agree with you there. But thanks for saying it anyway. But yeah, it is. It's almost like a rite of passage, isn't it? You learn, you grow. But even when I'm looking at a trade now, I feel like I can stop and breathe and have a few extra seconds to make a decision, where I can't tell you how many times I went straight for that buy or sell button in complete blind panic. But now, yeah, you can sit and breathe, can't you? And, it's kind of like learning to drive in a way. You spend most of your time looking down and wondering what your feet are doing. And after a while, something clicks, and then you can kind of look up and enjoy the view. So I kind of think I'm there now. I still make some mistakes from time to time. I still make a few slight misjudgments, but not as much now. I rarely get trapped now. And at one point, I was constantly getting trapped, but it does teach you not to get trapped. It does teach you where those vulnerable areas are, and it is kind of like learning a language. And I find now I can string together nice long sentences. So I'm in a good place now. I'm enjoying my trading more than I've ever done now. I went through stages of being frustrated and angry all the time, and if you just listen and sit there patiently. You can't do that, though. You can't control those emotions. And it just does take time of that sitting here day in, day out, having that exposure to the emotions and eventually. But good to see you two are still going as well. It's nice that you have each other. You've got a bit of support as well. Two heads are better than one for sure. You learn more, I think, if you trade with other people as well. It's part of the reason I like this stream. Because you get to chat to other people around the world, some more experienced, some less experienced, but it is kind of no one wants to spend all their time stuck in a room by themselves, do they? Let's face it. So what is going on here? So that bearish bar there, whatever you want to call it, a lower high, it's actually a second entry short. This has got risk written all over it, and that has as well. Which is why I never got in there, so I'll be amazed if that doesn't break. One more tick. But I know, because I'm in Thomas Way's Discord, there's a lot talking about looking for shorts here, and for me, it's a mistake, purely and simply because of that. Now, I've put that chart on there, but we kind of started here. We had a perfect bounce there. We've worked straight along it, and then we've done exactly the same. So going short here for me is risky. Still may work, but if you didn't manage to make a scalp out of that, I think it's gone. We came down and touched right on that line again. So we've had two perfect touches and a little double bottom. So we could still get two legs and come down, but for me, looking for shorts at the moment. What do you say? It's a mistake. Because I think the market's going up, so I'm not looking for shorts. So if you took that trade, it is a second entry short. So if you like this channel and you think we've had 2 legs up, which is a break. So you're looking for a place to go short. So there's a second entry short there, and I thought it was a mistake because for me it's a trap. So it triggered it and stopped it out. And if you got into any of those as well, so that's what I meant by mistake. I think it's a trap. It was trapping short. So, but there is a bigger picture going on, I think. Whether it is or not, that's down to people's opinions. But for me, I think because it's now come from here at a bounce, worked along there 1, 2, 3 times, and again, I think you have to at least acknowledge the fact that we may find some resistance there, which may sling the market then to the upside. It is trying to come down, but for me, any shorts here at the moment that I've seen would be a trap. So if you took that one there, let's say you took it as a fell breakout, triggered you, came back, stopped you out for a tick. Now, what did you get there? You may have got a couple of points there. So you'd have got 1.5 points. But if you look, each time we got a double bottom there. That one is higher than that. That one is higher than that. And so is that one. So is that one. So for me, it's more likely working away from this support now. It may still come back. But if you'd have taken that one, second entry short. So if you think that's a fell breakout and you take a lower high, second entry short, trigger just stopped you out. So you do get used to noticing areas that are risky. I don't always know it's going to do that. It's just, I've been here before and I kind of think, I don't like the look of this. Need to break a bottle of scotch. I'm breaking more, quite a lot lately, to be honest with you. You're one trade away from funding. Good on you, mate. Good on you. I go through about, dare I say, 1.5 bottles a month. It's actually not a lot. It's not as much as it seems. There's the equivalent, I think, of about 15 pints of beer in one bottle. So if you had one a day, that's 2 weeks. So, but yeah, I finished a bottle of 10-year-old Lafroig last night, actually. And I bought a rum cask Jura from the shops earlier on. So I probably have a double a night, actually. And in fact, if you look at the research, a double per night of whiskey has massive health benefits. And I really mean that. So if you don't drink scotch now, start drinking it. That's not advice to go and start boozing. Wow, that's interesting. So kind of double trap area, isn't it? We've kind of let's see, but this does bounce. See, we've got a leg and a leg. So that's come down to that line again. Let's see if it does break it. Yeah, see how that's come down and hit that line. Came down really bearish, hit that line and turned. Which tells me again that line is constantly playing a part. I'm going to be proved wrong in a minute. It's going to come smashing straight through it. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong, but you can't deny how many times it's hit that line, can you? And funnily enough, it actually fits perfectly on the only 2 occasions it's been up there. So, but sometimes I do get phased out in these bigger pictures and sometimes I miss out. So whether I'm right or whether anybody else is, who knows, because there's a lower high there. 2 legs up and a lower high. Ordinarily, it wouldn't be a bad trade, that one, but I just can't take that because of this lot. Although it's probably going to work. I kind of want it to push up and prove me right, but there's going to be shorts in there, so I kind of want it to work for them. Okay, so that worked for 2 points. So if you took that, good on you. So in all honesty, I wasn't a massive fan of this channel. So are we going to get a leg and a leg down there? So let's get rid of that now. It's not that that was definitely the case, it's just I had to take that into consideration, because if it trapped me and turned, so leg and a leg, what is going on today? So, yeah, see, a lot of people now I'm looking at, I've got that as an overshoot. So, going short there would also be a bit risky. But eventually it went up a couple of times and did work. So that's like a penguin style setup, isn't it? We've got a channel down, 2 attempts to go a lot higher, and then push down. Yeah, it's funny. No one took that though. I thought that would have been if you believe that was coming down, that might not have been a terrible short, but you are shorting into that. So, maybe there is a leg and a leg. Breakout, pull back. Let's see if any of this gets trapped. Trouble is, regardless of what happens there, we've sort of had 2 legs back and made a new extreme. So I don't know what's going on today. It's a bit of a tough day today. It's kind of not ranging and kind of we've had kind of 2 legs up, but we didn't get that far. It looks like maybe 2 legs down, but it's probably just in a range of some sorts, isn't it, between this and this. Okay, folks, my wife has just rolled up. I've done just under 3 hours, 10 minutes under 3 hours. I think I'm done for the day. So nice $2,000 for the day. That's where I like to be. If I can get a trade, $200 times 10, that'll do me. So look, I appreciate your comments. Nice to see you too. Make sure you come back and say hello. Have a great day if you're carrying on trading. Best of luck. I hope you get a setup. Failing that, have a great evening. Stay safe, and I will be back at the same time tomorrow. Bye for now.